Hey, what's up guys, I'm Praetorian and welcome back to Hearts of Round 4, as we're going to be starting a new series today with the Arms Against Tyranny expansion. So this DLC is $19.99 and it's going to be releasing on Tuesday, so we are playing it a little bit early, so do keep that in mind. There might be a day one patch, so some of the things may be different with the full version of the game than they are in this series. So it's been a really long time since we played HOI4. I believe we finished that Greek campaign back in February, the end of February, so it's been about 7.5 months, probably the longest since we've had HOI4 on the channel, and we're going to be doing a series with Sweden. So it's going to be a Swedish campaign. The 4 countries that got new focus trees in this expansion are the Nordic countries, so Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. There might be something for Iceland as well. It's been a while since I read all the dev diaries, so yeah, I don't recall if they have anything unique. But we're going to be playing as Sweden, and this is going to be a monarchy run. So we're going to go the non-aligned route on their focus tree. Their focus tree is pretty cool. Look forward to showing it to you guys, but let's get all of our custom game rules set up. So as usual, when we play with a minor power, we're just going to tick everybody up by 1 rather than the typical 2 that we do when we play as a major power. So everybody will just be ticked up by 1 for all these AI countries, just to make the AI play a little bit better. I think everything else we can leave as is because we're going to be playing with the historical AI focuses on. Unlike my typical campaigns where we'll specify what route on the focus tree all the AI countries will go, we're just going to leave it on the default and do the historical AI focuses, so they should all move down the route that fits for history. So we're going to leave it on the regular difficulty. We've already increased the challenge with our major nation buffs here, and thus we don't need to increase this and just make everything take longer for ourselves. So I think we're good to go. So very easy setup here for us in this campaign. Usually it takes me like 15 minutes to go through all the different settings, but yeah, now we can just jump right into the new expansion. There's 3 new mechanics, or 3 new major mechanics that have been added into the game. The first is the international market. So basically this replaces the Lend-Lease from the previous version of the game, and overall it's much better than that. So first of all, they have changed what you get from selling and buying equipment, rather than getting civilian factories, which, you know, towards the end of the game is just not all that useful because you already have a ton of civilian factories. Instead, when you sell equipment, you get a boost to your own civilian factories, so they'll actually construct faster. I believe that's how it's supposed to work. I've only played around with it a little bit, did a couple purchase agreements and a couple selling agreements, and that's what it seemed like it was doing. I didn't really dig into it too much, but that's what they said in the developer diary. And so if that's the case, then it seems like it'll be much better, since, you know, towards the end of the game you just don't need more civilian factories, and so it'd be nice to be able to boost the ones that you have. However, it's not that important a mechanic for me. It is much easier to use, and so that's nice. So I see myself using it more often than I use the Lend-Lease, simply because you can just put any equipment that you want to sell right here on the market, and then whoever needs it will buy it. So much better than before, where you had to go through every country and then look what they're willing to buy, how much they're willing to buy, and see if they're willing to accept those agreements. Now you don't have to go through all that. So it's just much easier to sell off your equipment and to purchase additional equipment. And they have a pretty nice little feature here with the market options where auto sends the market access. You can turn this off so that you can decide who you want to accept to be able to have access to your markets and whose market you want to have access to. I'm gonna leave it on. I don't really see any reason not to do this. Perhaps you might want to turn this off if you don't want future enemies to be buying your goods. But the auto accept purchase request is always an option. You know, if you have this turned off as I do, then they have access to your market, but they can't actually purchase anything from you without you accepting. And so I think this works out pretty well. They can see your market, but they can't purchase anything, and just avoids a lot of the spam. So I'm glad that they added that. We probably won't use this a ton, but we use it a little bit, again, far more than I use the Lend-Lease, just because I didn't like looking in every country to see what they're willing to accept. The second major mechanic is the Special Forces doctrines. So these are really cool. So there's 3 of them, 1 for Mountaineers, 1 for Marines, and 1 for Paratroopers, so each of the different types of Special Forces. And you'll use each of the 3 different types of experience for these. So Army experience for the Mountaineers, Marines are the naval experience and air experience for the paratroopers. Unfortunately, you can only have one of these. When you hover over them, you'll see the branch specialisms remaining one. I don't know if there's any way to get additional ones. I looked at like 3 or 4 different focus trees and none of them granted an additional branch specialism. So I don't know if there's any way to get a second one. So at least most countries are only going to have one. Now you do have access to all 3 of those types of special forces still. So those are still techs that you can research and give them some bonuses. And so you can still build all 3 of these. This doesn't limit who can build them. It's just limiting which one you're going to focus on. There are some really cool bonuses in here. For example, the paratroopers, they can airdrop light armor. So just imagine how powerful that is to airdrop some really speedy light tanks behind enemy lines. You could really take advantage of this one here. There's just a lot of pretty cool stuff here. And each one of them I feel is worth getting. So like the Mountaineers, you'll get access to these Rangers here. Just kind of go through these and show you some of the bonuses. But we're going to be going with the Marines, guys. This enables the Pioneers. And just tons of bonuses for your Marines. But this one here might be one of my favorite in this Doctrine branch. You get access to the Marine Commando unit. And so the Marine Commandos have the ability to basically take off from any coastal province. You don't have to have a port. And so that's one of the issues when you do naval invasions is, making sure that you have a port, not only for supply, but so your units don't get completely wiped out. Now, you still might have issues with supply if you don't have a port. But the point is that these commandos can just bounce from any province. Also, there's a bonus here where the Marine Commando Division will cause 1 level damage to all strategic state buildings after any successful naval invasion. So you can see how well these would combine, where basically you'd be able to land in a state, destroy some of their stuff, and then just take off without ever taking a port. And so I think this is the route we're going to go. As a Baltic sea power, which is what we're going to be focusing on. We're going to be trying to build up a bit of a fleet here as Sweden. They do have some really nice focuses for doing that. Now keep in mind it is going to be a later game mechanic for us since they do require that naval experience, and we're going to have a lot of other stuff we need to use the naval experience for. So it's not going to be something that we're going to do early on here. But the third mechanic that I wanted to show you guys before we jump on into the gameplay is probably the biggest one in this expansion, and that is the MIOs, the military industrial organizations. So basically they have replaced all of the research companies here. In the prior version of the game, you would select your research company by spending some political power, and you might have a couple different options. Maybe you only have one choice for certain countries that just didn't have very many options. And then they gave you a research bonus for their respective type of equipment, and then some other special bonuses. Generally, that's how you picked which one you wanted, is which bonuses you wanted for that type of equipment. Well, now they have changed it up quite a bit, because that mechanic before, you just didn't make use of it very much. You pretty much got it pretty early on, because you wanted that research bonus, and the earlier you got it, the better. And then you selected it, and then very rarely did you ever change the company. Sometimes you might change it, but often you didn't. Well, now it's a much more active mechanic. Now, unfortunately, as a minor power, it's really not the best country to start as, Sweden or any other minor power, because you just don't have as many options. We do have a couple choices here, but it's pretty basic for the minor powers. I think we played with like Germany or Italy or the UK or something. We'd have a lot more options available to us. Like in tank designers, we only have the one. So you'll give funds to each of these companies in order to level them up. And once they do level up, which the amount of funds they need for each level increases as they get a higher level, but as you level them up, they will get trait points, which you can use to specialize them and go down these trees. And so each of these trees are unique. And so if you have multiple types of companies, so I'll show you an example where we do have multiple type of companies, and that's with the fleet here. We have the Raiden Fleet 1 and then the Battle Line Shipbuilders. And so they'll have very different bonuses since they have different specialties. You can also see everything that they've researched and designed and produced for you. Yeah, here's our Battle Line Shipbuilders. So they're going to give us bonuses for battleships and cruisers. And so the way they get funds, there's two ways. So if you have them producing equipment, or in the case of this company's ships, then that will grant them funds, every day that they're producing equipment. Not much, but obviously it's going over the course of days. But the majority of the funds they're going to get is actually from using them for research. So they'll speed up your research and you'll grant them a ton of funds. Now, granting these funds does have a cost for you. In order to use them for research, you have to spend political power, and it's not a straight shot. Instead, we spend that political power every day. And so basically that's making up for the fact that you're never really purchasing the unit with political power, or the company, like you used to. And it probably is a lot more expensive, political power wise. I don't know. I think in the end it would be quite a bit more expensive, as you'll use them to research a lot of techs. And then for building equipment, it costs experience. So in this case, it'd be naval experience in order to get them set up to build a particular ship. And that's just a one shot, usually 5 experience in order to assign them to build something. And so yeah, I really like this mechanic. It's obviously the headline mechanic, the big one for the expansion. And we'll dig more into it as we play, but I really like it. Liking it a lot more than I thought I was going to. So yeah, pretty cool. And then also, you might have saw one other thing here, the policies. You can't really play around with these until after you got into level 5. And then you can spend more political power. So this is a political power sink, basically, for when you get to that end game and you're just kind of stacked up on political power. But once you get them to size 5 or level 5, however you want to word that, then you'll be able to start using these. You'll grant them political power to get them some type of bonus here. So, in this case is extra funds. And this would change up the bonuses they're giving for the equipment. So yeah, a pretty interesting mechanic. I like it. I'm looking forward to showing it to you guys a bit more, but let's go ahead and jump into it. That's the 3 mechanics. It's really not a lot overall when you compare it to like other expansions, but they're all pretty cool for the most part. Again, I don't know how much I'll use this one. I do like it, certainly better than the least, but I really like the special forces and the MIOs. Those are cool too, but overall, not as much as you'd expect. Now, it does have all these new focus trees, and the focus trees are really good, guys. So this is the Swedish one, and I'm really liking it. I played around with it quite a bit, and I like what it does here. So this is a new concept, the Nordic Council, and so this allows all the countries in an alliance that are either Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, or Iceland to work on this branch of the focus tree together. So I think that's kind of interesting. I think they call them like joint focus tree branches. You do have to be in alliance with at least one of them in order to make use of it, though. So I don't know if we will or not. We'll have to see. But we'll basically be ignoring this, at least for the first few episodes. So this middle route is the domestic improvement branch, which will end with us getting one of our 2 research slots. Remember, we are starting as a minor power, and I should show you guys the national spirits that we start with. So this one's pretty major. So basically, if we fall under 65% stability, then we'll be at risk of strikes or riots. So it's really important that we keep an eye on our stability, and you'll see that the Sweden gameplay for much of the early game, first couple of years, is all about balancing that stability with the war support, since obviously there's so many things you can't do until you get enough war support. But you can't allow that stability to get too low or you have issues. And so we're going to really focus on trying to get the 40 civilian factories so that we can get rid of this. We start out with 12. And so we got to do a lot of building to get to 40. And that's the only way to get rid of this as far as I know. Then we have a severe lack of ammunition, reducing our attack and our defense. We'll get rid of that with one of the military focuses. This is a bonus for our king, which we'll keep since we're going to be remaining as a monarchy, and it reduces our political power gain, but gives us some nice bonuses there. I mean, really just the daily command power is it. I don't think it's worth the loss of political power. The acceptance of fascist diplomacy, that's really only going to affect the AI. Do get some daily support for unaligned, and same thing with that acceptance of unaligned diplomacy. That's only for the AI. So definitely not worth the political power loss there. But he will get other bonuses once he's the leader. We also have a neutral foreign policy, as you'd expect with Sweden. So we're not going to be able to do certain things like send volunteers. It'll be very difficult to do that, or guarantees or anything like that. And then this here plays into that stability mechanic here. And so it grants us a ton of stability while also tanking our war support. Makes it really difficult to build military factories and dockyards. Instead, we can build infrastructure and civilian factories really quick. So basically, Sweden is investing their funds, their government funds, their taxes, in stuff for the people rather than building up the military. And so it kind of fits with Sweden's history at the time. And so we'll need to try and get rid of that. But if you just drop the 25% stability, because it's not that difficult to get rid of it, there's several focuses that do it, or that slowly do it. But if we did that, we'd be under the 65%. So we got to be careful as we do this, guys. Make sure we don't drop it too quickly. So those are the national spirits. Over here is the military branch. So you got the naval focuses here. This one's pretty cool. It grants you a heavy ship, a battleship, named the Vasa 2 specifically. So if you guys know history, early modern history, then you guys may know what the story is for the first one and why this is the Vasa 2. Hopefully it's a more successful launch than the first one. Yeah, some nice bonuses here. And you'll see some of these focuses here are going to modify that one national spirit and reduce its effects. This is the air one, the air branch. Here's the army one, and so is this to a lesser degree. But this is the other research slot here, guys. We have some pretty interesting stuff here. Now these are there's two kind of democratic routes where you'll remain a democracy, but a different type of democracy. So the far left here is the communist route. As you'd expect, though, some focus trees don't always do that because they gotta be next to certain other focus trees, so you end up having like the communist on the far right or whatever. But yeah, here on the left we have communism with the two democratic ones in the middle, because these two are mutually exclusive because this one here is tied to the old enemy stirs, while this one is tied to continue the second industrial revolution. And so you can only get one of those. This one unlocks as soon as you finish this here, while this one does have some requirements, the 10% world tension and 10% war support, which, we're at 0% with that negative 25% modifier. It is difficult to get that up a bit higher, so we won't be able to select this anytime soon because this is the route we're going, though we won't be going this way because we won't be a democracy. But if you do go any of these routes, then you come down here, and this is pretty cool. The line of the north rises, nice bonus there. And I did consider going this way because I like some of the bonuses here. Overall, if you go down any of these here, particularly these two, you're gonna get a lot of bonuses. Where if you go down this route, prevent a red dictatorship, the left here is the non-aligned monarchy one, while the right is the fascist one. And then with the fascist, you have two choices. You can basically become like a subject to Germany, to Nazi Germany, and then you can try and break free later if you so desire, or you can stay under them, or you can go this route where you basically have the same focuses as the monarchy route, and essentially this is getting you territory, and then at the end you can integrate all the Nordic countries, so that means core them. Annex and then core them. So all this territory here, all through Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, and then Iceland, and I believe Denmark as well, will be cored. And so that means you're going to get all the resources and factories and manpower and not have to garrison that. And so that's a pretty powerful bonus at the bottom there. And so that's essentially what you're getting with this route. You're getting the cores. You're getting manpower, territory, and the factories from it, and resources, rather than the nice bonuses you get on these ones, which there's some pretty cool ones here, guys. Like the ranger trait going to your generals. But yeah, I really like this route. I did consider going it. But yeah, we're gonna go with this one. And what's interesting is they're reclaiming the Rus. So this allows, it's based on the Vikings, the fact that the Rus were founded by Vikings. Now, obviously two very separate cultures eventually that emerge there, but essentially you just get claims in a lot of this Russian territory and you can rebuild the old Swedish Empire, the one they built in the early modern times. So, you know, it started in the 17th century, and that was kind of Sweden's period as a great power in history. And so, yeah, basically you build the empire that encompasses all this and all the Baltic coastline here, which is a little bit more than Sweden had historically, but they did have a lot of the Baltic coastline. And so that's what our goal is going to be for the campaign. Now, you don't get a choice here in the beginning. We have to get the Defense Act. This is going to be a 35-day focus, and it'll be an election at the end of it, so we don't get anything else from it. Remember, we only have those 3 research slots, so we know what we need to get here. The electronic mechanical engineering, the basic machine tools, and the construction 1. So we're going to get all those with the civilian factories. Like I mentioned, we need to get to 40 civilian factories, and so that's what we're going to be building here, guys. We're going to be building civilian factories. Now, we do need to build up the infrastructure here. I'll show you guys why in a minute. First, let's get these civilian factories building. We're going to want probably civilian factories here, just in case you lose that, because we will be fighting the Germans, guys. Build one here as well, since that's a 60%. And one right there. All right, so we'll just do the 3 for now. You know, actually, we know we're going to be building nothing but this for some time, so let's get a couple more going here as well. We'll do one right there. All right, so we'll have these 5 civilian factories going. That'll keep them busy for some time. But I did want to show you guys why we need to build up over here. So the industrial concern here gives us a 10% industrial research speed. But if we get a total of 11, well, I think it needs to be more than 11. So a total of 12 infrastructure in these 3 states here, then it grants us an additional 5% industrial research speed for a total of 15, and also a 15% electronics research speed. So that's something we'll want to get sooner rather than later. So we'll build some civilian factories, get started on that, but then we're going to want to get that infrastructure going, because we won't be able to change many of these laws here simply because of our very low war support. Now, you may have noticed that I'm back on the mechanical keyboard. I did change out my keyboard for some of our recent series here because the clicking annoys some people. It annoys me too. But unfortunately for Hearts of Iron 4, I have no choice because it's the only way to switch out the WASD keys with the arrow keys. I got a button on this keyboard that does it. And supposedly there's other ways to do it with other keyboards. But I've looked it up, and I've tried every single way where you hold the FN key with some other key. There's a lot of keys that they say you can try, and I tried them all, and it does not work. I cannot switch them. I even downloaded a program, but unfortunately that required you to basically reboot your PC every time you wanted to change the keys up. And so that was kind of a hassle. It's frankly just easier to switch the keyboards every time I got on HOI4. So yeah, kind of a pain that I got to switch the keyboards out because I am playing other games, doing other series right now. And so yeah, I'm gonna have to switch this out every time. So obviously not optimal. I really wish Paradox would basically enable us to change them or just make that standard. I know it's an old game, 7-year-old game, and so that's the reason why it doesn't have it, but it's kind of annoying. I wish they would change it. We're gonna get the towed artillery here, and this is where we'll see that we can use that MIO. And so it's gonna reduce the production cost by 3%. And by hovering over the specific type of equipment, we can see what bonuses it's going to grant. In this case, it's just a 3% to air attack. Obviously, artillery doesn't have an air attack, so it doesn't help it at all. But you do want that negative 3% reduction cost. And basically, oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Basically, there's no cost to assigning that. There's only a cost if we change it up in here, which we're not going to do. So if we assigned it in here, then it would cost us 5 experience to do that, which of course we don't even have. And that's how you get the actual air attack on it. So we don't need the air attack on it, so there's no reason to do this. And just by using it here for the production line, we get the bonus, the 3%. But normally, you'd want to make sure you actually change up the equipment for that. All right, so I think that's good. We only have the 3 military factories. That is it, guys. It's not much. We'll go and assign these ships that are currently building, and we're going to keep them all going since they don't have that much longer to go. So we'll get these assigned to Stockholm. Oops, I hate when I do that. To our capital, that's where we'll keep our fleet for now. And then we'll just send the entire fleet over there so we can train them up. We don't have much oil, so this is probably going to take a while. We don't need to be notified about these here. With our army, let's go ahead and get them all selected. And then we're going to want to train these up. We might move these around a little bit too. I'm not entirely sure where they're all at. So we might want to put... We're going to bring these guys down here. Obviously, it doesn't really matter where these guys are at currently, because we're not going to be fighting a war anytime soon, guys. I can tell you that right now. It's going to be a while. And I don't even know if we'll be able to... let me see, let's put these guys over here. Do volunteers anywhere. There is an advisor who allows you to send volunteers a little bit earlier. We'll send this guy over here. So we're just going to put them all in the ports and stuff. Again, it doesn't really matter, but we'll just do it. So we'll have those guys train up. And then our planes are the last thing we need to do here, which we just have a few here. Not much. So we're going to go ahead and train them up just for the experience. And I don't think we have anybody else. Yeah, no other air wings currently. So we'll train those up so we can get some experience. Obviously, it's going to deplete our fuel fairly quickly once we get these ships out there training. We do need to speed this up. So finally in the game, took long enough. It always does take so long. See, they should all be over here. So let's going to get these merged. And then we'll split them just so we have the submarines in there on a separate one. Change up that icon as well. And then what we might want to do, let's go ahead and change their color up here. And then we're going to have to set them up to both train just until they get to the full level, since we will not have the fuel to keep them going. In fact, that's probably going to take an entire game to get those guys trained up. Because you see we're going to run through all of our fuel soon, but I do not want to use civilian factories to trade divert. It's fine. They can take the penalty. They'll just train really slow. One thing we should consider, though, is that we might need to give them a few dockyards here. Just for one extra one. We only have 3 for the repairs. Now, we could have them leave the unit as they get injured. Yeah, I suppose we might want to do that. Turn on the automatic split off. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so we finished up our national focus, the first one, and this is basically an election. And so we get to choose which of our leaders we want to put in place. So currently we have this character, Per Albin. I don't know how you pronounce that, if that's correct, but he's our current leader, Hansen. And if we leave him in place, then there'll be a vote of no confidence, and basically we'll have the fallen Reichstag as our leader, and we'll be getting another penalty to the political power, which will hit kind of hard. But that's actually what we're going to do, because if you go with this option, then you get a special option in the next election that we want. Now this character here has some pretty large penalties when it comes to changing up your laws. Those are pretty major. That's going to really cost you a lot of political power in the long run. Now, you're not stuck with any of these, because again, you're going to have another election soon. But yeah, I don't think we're going to go this route. Could go with this one, and this one's going to cost you stability, which again, stability is really important here for Sweden. But you get that really nice research speed. And the reason why we're not going to go with that guy is because he's actually a political advisor. Many of these guys are, but if you looked at like this guy here, he's also a political advisor, but he's really not that great. But the leader for this party, he gets that same 6% research speed bonus as a political advisor as he does as a leader. So it's much better to have the bonus here, I think. So we'll probably select him and keep him there for the entirety of the game. He also doesn't have any requirements for ideology. Many of these will lose once we become a monarchy, because they're like Democrats or communists or whatever. And so we won't have access to him. And so we're going to take the penalty here to get a different leader that you can't see here just yet, because he's got some nice bonuses. And so when we come back in here, oh, well, we got to wait till the event fires, of course. And so now you see we got the fallen Reichstag and that penalty there. All right, so let's go and get the next national focus selected. We can start going down the military ones, but we're not going to. And you can see that this one's already opened up. So if you want to go down this democratic route or the communist route, then you start that immediately. Where going down this democratic route the fascist or the monarchy one, you have to wait. And so while we're waiting, we're going to go down the domestic focuses, domestic improvement. And so this is going to grant us 2 civilian factories, 1 dockyard, and then a decision that we can take, which will grant us building slots, which is pretty important here for Sweden. We'll find that, I don't know, maybe like 3 years from now, we'll run out of building slots, 3 or 4 years from now, across our whole country. And we won't have any building slots remaining. And so it's going to be an issue. So it's something we need to improve. And of course, there's that regular decision to do it, but this one here is a little bit better because it grants you 4 building slots for, I think, much cheaper political power overall from what it would cost with the generic decision. So of course we see the remilitarization of the Rhineland. Remember, we have the historical AI focuses on, so they're all going to go that historical route. Yeah, sorry it took a while to get in the gameplay here. We're going to try and get as far as we can in today's episode. And I did want to explain all of those mechanics, all those new mechanics, for those of you who haven't been following the dev diaries. We're going to keep on getting these research speed with the 3 slots. It's really important that we have as fast a research as we can get. Yeah, it's generally something I try and do whenever we have these new expansions. Go over the new stuff for those of you who don't follow along with those dev diaries, so you're not completely lost here. So yeah, we got those civilian factories and the dockyard. Now this one here, I'm on the fence whether we should go for it. So what's nice is that it grants you stability. So again, that's really important here, Sweden. Also, a 7% research speed bonus. That's fantastic. But the problem here is that it increases the democracy support. Now you can change, this is the radio. And so you can change who the radio is supporting in their broadcast so that they're supporting unaligned. And so that's helpful, but that actually has much different bonuses. No research speed bonus. I think it actually reduces stability and instead grants war support. Just overall, the bonuses are not as good or as helpful. It's basically just to tick up the unaligned support. So yeah, I'm a little on the fence whether I want to go for this, guys. Because I like the research speed, but yeah, there's the other problems. So we have 2 other choices here on what we can go for. This also doesn't bring us down this route, so if we want to keep moving towards the research slot, we need to get something else. And so we only need 1 of these. This is a civilian factory and stability, while this one here gives you civilian factory construction speed and resource gain efficiency, but it's only in that first state, and then it slowly spreads through the rest of your core states. So it's something you might want to do a little bit earlier. And so I think we're going to go for that one, and we're probably going to get this one too, just because we need the stability and the civilian factory, even though we don't have to get them both. The thing to consider is that we're going down this route here, or maybe not completely. I kind of feel like all these might fit better for the route we're going, though. We're certainly going to go with the defense above all compared to the Poverty Reduction Act. I think this one makes more sense since that increases democracy and communism, while this one will increase non-aligned support. And when we take this, this will modify that one national spirit, so we'll see that we'll have less stability and more war support. And so we don't actually want to take that yet. And so let's go ahead and get this one first, and then we'll get this one, and then we'll move down that one. Although there might be that other one open up. Probably not, though. I think our war support will still be fairly low at that point. Yeah, it'll definitely be really low. Now, I have noticed that your planes take a lot more casualties from air accidents now, guys. A lot more than they used to. And you can see them dropping now, actually, because we're not building these right now. But yeah, I noticed that you just lose a ton of planes from air accidents. Now, the bad weather here probably doesn't help. It's like always like raining, storming here. It's raining now. So the bad weather here probably doesn't help. Maybe I should move where we train them. I think it rains everywhere, though. But yeah, I noticed a lot of casualties, guys, for the planes. So you probably don't want to have those training all the time if you're a minor country, because you just lose tons of planes. Or at least not early on, but yeah, usually you'd use them just to get the air experience. So we're going to get the concentrated industry. We definitely want to make the best use of our factories. So here's that next election, 1936 Swedish general election here. And so we'll have a unique option here that we wouldn't have had if we hadn't had the Fallen Reichstag. So you have this choice here. And so that's the same leader that we started with. And now he'll actually have some bonuses because he has the solidified mandate. But he has some penalties too. Honestly, I feel like those bonuses very much offset the penalties. So yeah, I feel like he's a decent leader to have. This character here, he's going to have the same bonuses and penalties that he had if we had selected him before, the leader of the Farmers Party. With the moderates, again, we saw him. He has that research speed, but he doesn't have the penalty anymore. And so you can just get that research speed without the, I forgot what his penalty was. I think it was a stability penalty. But this is the new character that we have for the Social Democrats. And so that's who we're going to select. He's got the Captain of Industry trait here, which increases our construction speed for infrastructure, civilian factories, railways, and refineries. So absolutely fantastic bonus there for this early game for what we're focusing on. It's going to be pretty helpful, guys. So let's go ahead and we're going to start building some convoys here. Yeah, we'll build some convoys. We're finishing up these ships that we started with. And so let's go and get the submarines added in here. And see how our ships are doing on the training. Okay, so they're moving along. Getting us some nice naval experience. That's the only experience we currently have up here. We didn't get enough from the army or the planes training. And okay, so we had one dockyard that was currently in use for repairs. So we'll put that over here. Just get those ships finished up. And then hopefully we'll have enough naval experience to design a new ship. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. Make sure we got the text for that as well. We'll see where we're at when it comes to the ship tech. So this is one way for us to get our stability up. You know, of course, we have the usual improve working conditions, which will reduce our factory output, of course. But we need our political power for other things, so we're not going to do any of these here, guys. We'll just say we don't need to be notified about it. We can select a political advisor. I think there's a couple of political advisors that are really cheap. But none of these are ones that we're going to get right now. Might want to get him later. The first guy we should probably get is maybe this Minister of State, Minister of Justice here. For the political power, that'd be helpful. Of course, we can't get that research speed. That would be really nice. Here's that one guy I told you about who allows you to easier send volunteers. Also a nice attack and defense bonus against major countries. So some decent options here, guys. Remember, many of these will lose once we are no longer democratic. So those are all valid choices, but we can also get the industrial concern to get the research speed. That would be a nice option too. And of course we have the Chief of Army, Navy, and Air Force for the experience, which, you know, we always need that. So a lot of choices for what we want to get first. Let's go with the work projects for the unemployed. Get that civilian factory and the increase to stability. Also, let's put this dockyard to finish up the submarine. And then we'll take a look at what we want to build next. Yeah, we'll keep these guys on despite the lack of fuel. We're probably going to continue to have fuel issues. Yeah, you see we lost a lot of planes from that training. Quite a few. More than you would have in that time. So it's a little bit more costly having your planes out there training. Look at the excavation. We get a lot of civilian factories from trade, guys. So if you just looked at where we're currently getting all our civilian factories, we have 8 from trade right now. And so that really helps us out quite a bit. So yeah, we're waiting to get to the 150 political power. And the Civil War has started in Spain. Oh, we got these dockyards. Okay, so let me take a look at our naval tech, guys, to see what we might want to work on. So we have the 1936 destroyer hull, but probably none of the stuff for it. No, not really. We do have the submarines, and those start with everything you need for the most part. So probably just build submarines, because yeah, you can see we don't have hardly anything. Yeah, not much at all at the moment. Okay, so yeah, we're going to build submarines. So we'll get those designed. Do we have enough experience, though? That's the question. In fact, I feel confident enough that we need 16 that I'm not even going to waste our time and look. We're just going to assume we need 16 and go ahead and save up for that. So this is that decision, the urbanization, that gets you those extra building slots. Also, it makes it metropolis region type. Not entirely sure what that means. But anyways, that's that decision, which we're not going to want to take right now because we don't have any problems with the current slots. Not yet, but we will. And that's because we have that hygienic housing policy, and that's going to be spreading through all of our territory and getting us that nice bonus for the civilian construction speed, civilian factories. But it does a little bit of a bummer that there's no way to say you don't want to be notified of that, I don't think. Since it's one on the map. Yeah, I don't think there's any way for us to say we don't be notified of that. So that's unfortunate. We do have the 150 political power, though. So we don't have enough war support to change our conscription law or our economy law. So kind of limited on this until we get to, what is it? I think it's 10% war support to get to the limited. And so we won't be able to do anything. We won't be able to build many units, really. We might change up, if we get some army experience, might just change up our division designs, and that's what we'll do with a little bit of manpower that we currently have. Also need that for ships and planes and stuff. But I did want to show you guys that they have changed up the export focus, made it a little bit more useful in comparison to the free trade, you know, because you get all those fantastic bonuses on free trade. But there's one bonus on here that you didn't have, and that's the construction line speed boost multiplier. So that is the boost you get when you're trading any of your equipment away. And so it's a double the bonus here if you have the export focus. I'm pretty sure that's all that applies to. Correct me if I'm wrong there. We're going to go and get that industrial concern because we're currently researching our industrial tech, so it's a good time to get it here early on. So look at that to speed up our research a bit. And then that means that in order to get the full bonus, we need to build up. Maybe we'll do that now, actually. We have the full civilian factories here. We'll probably let them finish this since it'll be done here at the end of the month. But yeah, we want to go ahead and start. You know, we'll let them build a little bit more, and then we'll work on the infrastructure. Because, yeah, we're going to build this up over here. But I don't have the additional benefits of granting us more resources, because the territory here that we need to build up has a bunch of resources. And we'll be able to build there quicker, too. So we've completed this national focus, got another civilian factory, and some more stability, and all those nice bonuses that stability grants us. So do we want to go ahead and go after the defense above all now? Probably. Yeah. So remember, that's going to result in us losing some of the bonuses that we're getting from that modifier, but also some of the penalties. So we'll have more war support, though we'll probably still be sitting at 0%. We'll lose some of that stability, and the penalty for building military factories and dockyards will not be as high, but of course the bonus for civilian factories and infrastructure will not be as high either. So we'll go for that one. Most importantly, that's going to grant us those 2 military factories, which, you know, we only have 3, so pretty helpful getting those done. So we will be fighting against Germany eventually, but we're going to have to be careful, guys, because they seem to have changed up the way this works a bit. Or at least that's what happened when I was playing as Sweden in my little test run. Essentially, they never really invaded Denmark. They just got control of it as like a subject state. And then with Norway, same deal here. Like they had a little subject state here, so they did have to invade. I did not like the way that it went down. It was just so much easier and quicker, and I don't think the Germans sent troops here. I think it was just like Norwegian troops, which that's not what happened historically. The Germans were here conquering Norway. I don't know if they had any assistance from Norwegians, like the Norwegian fascists. They might have, but there were certainly German troops that conquered Norway, and that is not what happened. There were no German troops here. It just got conquered by that Norwegian subject state. So I don't know if that always happens that way. It was on historical AI focuses when I did my little playthrough, so I assume it'll happen that way again. And I think that's to avoid the issue that Germany has sometimes where they can't get across and do the invasion. I mean, it's pretty rare though. Usually they can conquer Norway. Sometimes they have problems, and maybe they should. I don't know. I don't really like the way it works now. So hopefully that doesn't happen again. I assume it will though. I assume since I'm doing pretty much everything the way I did before with a few adjustments based on things I learned from that first playthrough. So we have an option here for the deep mining complexes. Gives us some nice research bonuses and also a decision for deeper mines. But this does not lead us down here, so we don't have to take it. We have the next 2 options here. And these are 35-day focuses. This will grant us a factory and dockyard output bonus, so pretty useful. Well, this one here, more political power, but you lose some of your consumer goods, or some of your factories to consumer goods. Get more stability and reduction efficiency cap. Really, this is a decent bonus too, guys. Yeah, I could see doing that one, but we're gonna go for this one because we need that factory and dockyard output. 35-day focus, so we'll get it done pretty quick. We have the 2 military factories to get assigned here. So let's see what we want. We could just pump into these, but we do eventually need to get anti-air and anti-tanks. We don't need to do trains right now, that's fine. We're not going to build these tanks right here. I think we'll wait until we get later tanks. We don't have the production for building tanks, and we don't have any of the newer planes researched just yet, so I think we're just going to focus on these 3 types of equipment for now. We do have a shortage of infantry equipment, so yeah, let's just build these. And then we'll put those into the units eventually. Once we have some army experience. I think we have some focuses that grant army experience. And also, at the bottom of this branch that we're going on, I'll show you guys. There's something kind of cool there. So these are the 1937 techs, so we're not there just yet. And so let's go and get something else. Let's see what we want. I'm thinking the basic small airframe. We really want to get a decent Air Force built early on because, you know, we don't have a lot of factories, so it has to be done early on or it won't get done at all. I think that might be what we do, guys. I think that'd be the most beneficial thing to do. Of course, we could work on the tanks as well, but it's going to take a while to get some tank units up and running, so really shouldn't be a priority, I don't think. We also need to work on the fleet, though, so something to consider. Now, if we're going to do the planes, then we got to get some of these other techs. Just for the fighters, we don't need that. If we just want to do the fighters, then I think we only need maybe one thing. The extra fuel tanks, the drop tanks specifically, and the engines. So that'd be 2 things. Yeah, so we have to get these 2 here. Okay. So let's go and work on this first. And so this is one of the techs that will actually allow us to use one of our MIOs. And this is the one for the fighters and carriers. And so it's going to cost us political power. And it increases agility and max speed by 5%. And yeah, you can see that it's speeding up from 186 days to 163. It's a nice little bonus there. And then they'll get funds. And if we took a look at that, to show you that in here, when you hover over this, they're going to get 1,000 funds when that tech is finished, which it only takes 800 funds to get the first level. Again, that gets higher and higher, but basically we'll get to, when that tech finishes, we'll get to select our first trait here for our MIO. And I believe that's the first one we'll get to do. Let me just double check. Yeah, because I don't think we're using this one. Yeah, we are not, but we don't have any experience, so we can't assign it. Now, this is one we do want to assign, so we need some damn army experience, basically. We could just train the units, even though they don't need it. Yeah, let's do that, just to try and get some army experience for now. Alright, we got the mechanical computing. Excellent, so that means we are done here for now. Of course, we do need to get this. Yeah, we do need to get this, but we're not going to do it right now. We're going to wait to get that. So many other things that we have to get. And since we're working on the planes before the ships, let's just focus on the planes. And so let's get those engines next. And this will also grant a bonus of 500 funds. So not as many, since it's easier, quicker to build, so don't get as many funds for it. And so that will not get us our second trait. I think it's... God, I think maybe 1,600 for the second trait. Maybe it just doubles every time. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think so, because I think I recall one of the levels taking 4,000. And so, yeah, obviously, 1,600 next would be 3,200. So, you know, guys, I really feel like we need to get the Chief of Air Force now. You know, we're building these planes, but are we going to have any experience to even, you know, design them? Because we don't have any experience. So, now eventually, we're going to get something that can get us some experience pretty easily. But yeah, I think it'd be worth it to go ahead and do this now, guys. And with the crappy weather that's here, I almost feel like the all-weather would be the better route to go here. You know what? Let's do that. But yeah, we need to get that air experience taken up. So we have freed up our civilian factories, and we already know that we want to get the infrastructure over here. And so we're going to have to build up both of these completely. So that'll get us to 10, 11, 12. So that's enough right there. And you could build this one up too, but you're not going to get anything from it. So yeah, that's the 12 that you need. So we'll build that, and then we're going to want to get civilian factories. Though you know what? I really feel like maybe we should build... Well, we do have those bonuses to consider. I don't think those have spread everywhere just yet. Okay, so it seems like it's spreading this way. And so you're probably going to want to put your civilian factories over here then. But yeah, eventually when you have these all built there, then it's going to be really fast to build there. So yeah, we'll build it here. Since we know they have that that bonus. Allows us to build them a little bit faster, 12% faster. Pretty helpful. Also, we got the privately managed vacations. So we got the factory and dockyard output. And so this one here is going to reduce the stability. Luckily, we're still good. We're at 77% currently. And it's going to grant us war support, 10%. I don't think that's going to be enough. Yeah, to get us into even the positive at this point. Yeah, I think we'd still be in the negative because of that penalty that we have there. But what's important is that from here, we'll get the research slot, and then this is the focus I was telling you guys about. This one's pretty cool. This allows you to trade ball bearings to major powers, and you can get some really nice bonuses. You get to pick what you want, and I've never seen anybody turn it down because they get a fantastic bonus. In fact, the bonus that the other country's getting is actually much better than the one that you get. But you're not granting them anything. You don't give them anything. They just get that, it's like a research bonus for tanks and planes. And so they can research them much faster. No, they can produce them, excuse me. It's not research. They can produce them much faster. Maybe there's a research bonus too. I know that they can produce them faster. And so it's a really good bonus for them. You know what? We are close enough to 1937 to go ahead and start working on the 1937 tax here. But yeah, it's a great bonus for them. And the bonus you get is not as good. But again, you're not really granting them anything. You're just giving them a nice bonus. It's not like you have to give them a civilian factory or something like that. So yeah, it's really helpful to just give it to... I wouldn't give it to anybody who you're going to fight or who you look at as a rival because it's such a nice bonus. You probably don't want to grant them it. So Germany, for instance, we're not going to trade it with them. We can trade it with like the United Kingdom, United States, France. Probably not the Soviet Union. I don't know. I'm tempted. They're kind of an enemy for us, but at the same time, they're also an enemy to Germany. So that's something to consider. China, we'd want to grant it to them. But yeah, we'll take a look at that once we get to it. Obviously, we'll be getting the research slot first because I think that's a bit more important for us. So yeah, just focus on the planes currently, and then we'll move over to the ships. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff to get, and only those 3 research slots. All right, so we knocked that out. Was that a 35-day one? No, it's 70 days. It just seemed like it was only 35. And now we'll get the extra research slot, and so that'll be really helpful for us. And you can see our war support's now at 7%, so we are here in the positive. All right, excellent. Well, that's because the base value is 20%, that's right. And so you need to have the world tension at 10%, so that would probably be enough. If anything happens, it might be enough for us to start moving down this other route here. Or this one, excuse me, the old enemy stirs. And it's a 35-day one as well. That Civil War is expanding, but I don't know. We might want to get this one because it's only 35 days too. And again, it's really helpful. So yeah, a lot of decisions you got to make here. Which way is the best way to go initially? So this is working to get us some army experience here, guys, which we do now have enough. So that's what we were waiting on. You cannot add it for the support equipment. As you can see, we do not have an MIO to assign that to, but we do have an infantry one. And so let's go ahead and do that to get that 3% soft attack. Obviously, it's not that helpful, but you're getting funds to them as well. So that's another thing to consider. And so then you do need to like assign it to them. And I don't think it impacts the production efficiency too much. But yeah, you can see that they're now assigned to it. and we'll get a soft attack bonus for that equipment. But you actually have to build it. You don't just get it. It has to be built with that. So like planes and tanks were in the past version. Now all the equipment's like that. So we did get the planes, but we'll probably wait until we're done with this because it's 7 days before we actually design those. And we do have the air experience as well now. So that was pretty helpful, us getting that one advisor. You can see we're building up the air experience quite quickly now. All right, so I don't think we need anything else specifically for the fighters, and that's all we're going to have the factories for. So yeah, we'll wait to get any of this other stuff for now. And of course, a lot of that stuff is ahead of time. And so what we need to do next, I think, is the ships. Could also work on another tech here. But yeah, we eventually do need to start working on those ship techs, so why not do that now? Yeah, let's go and start working on that. So we'll want to get the stuff for the destroyers, because we will be using destroyers. We will not be using cruisers, guys. We just won't have the dockyards for it. Instead, it's going to be a 3-ship navy. We're going to have submarines. We're going to have battleships. I know battleships are expensive, but we have a lot of bonuses for battleships, including decreasing their production costs. And just battleships are cool as well. So we're going to get battleships. I know we don't start with the tech. If we didn't have all those bonuses in the focus tree, I would just go with like battle cruisers or something, since we already have the first tech. But yeah, we got to get battleships. That one focus that grants the basically 60% of the battleship already constructed, that requires that you have this tech. Actually, I think it might be this tech, in fact, that it requires you to have. So yeah, I think we're going to do the battleships, and then we'll do destroyers for sinking submarines and any other things we need. Anti-air, whatever we need. The battleships will probably be heavily focused on anti-air as well, since the Baltic is a place you got to worry about enemy planes. So it's going to start with the sonar, and then we can only use the raiding fleet MIO for researching these. So we'll start boosting them up. Of course, remember, we're spending little power for all this, but I feel like it's worth it. Now, this is one of the things that I heard might be changed because they felt like it wasn't a big enough penalty or something. So when the full version of the game comes out, it might be different. It might cost more political power, or maybe something completely different. There's talks that they're going to change the way this works. So we'll have to see when the game releases. But whenever you get the ability to unlock a trait, you'll get this little button that will pop up, and it'll take you right in there. So we got our first trait, and this is for the SAAB, which is the one for our fighters. And so we have 3 different options here. And what I like about this one is it really focuses on the max speed and agility. There's a lot of bonuses for that, which that's what you want for your fighter, right? You can also get some range here. I don't know what naval attack would do for you if you're not using it as a multi-role plane. But yeah, you also have this one here, so I think this is the one we should go for. So we can just get these 2, and then eventually we'll get that one, which will unlock this one here. Yeah, some good stuff in here, guys. But we'll start with this one, max speed and agility. And then it has the button for you to update this, but this updates every plane model that uses that, even if you're not actually like building with those. And so yeah, we don't actually want to do it that way. Sometimes you do. Generally, it's just best to update it yourself, because it's going to update a whole bunch of stuff you don't want to update. So we're just waiting 7 days to get that bonus, or to get that equipment researched, and then we'll design our planes. We will have enough experience. And did I not? Ah, damn, I'm a dummy. I waited until we got the 16 to get the naval experience. Now we got 20. All right, so we'll be designing both of those here at the end of the episode, and I guess we'll be selecting the next tech as well. So do we want to just focus on naval techs, or do we want to go ahead and start getting something else? Obviously, you need all this tank techs. Could start getting infantry stuff. Of course, this doesn't need to be built. It's just modifiers, so you don't really need to get that just yet. Yeah, these also give you funding for those types of MIOs. So something to consider, but I really think we should focus on the ships. So let's get these done, since, you know, ships take a while to build. So yeah, we're going to do the depth charges next, and we'll also need to do the basic light battery, although that's not as important. And then there's the torpedoes too, so all those are needed for your destroyers. So let's go and get these researched. And then we need to design first the submarines and then the planes. And that's probably going to be the end of today's episode. I just want to get through the first year in our first episode, which we made well past that. Usually with the minor power, you can get through 2 years, but you know, I've been talking about all these other features and mechanics, so we didn't get as far here. So yeah, we want to decommission these early submarines, and we're going to be using the Draken class here. Yeah, we're going to use these and just modify them. And we're going to, well, we'll change up the name in a minute. But let's go ahead and add the torpedo tubes and the new engines. This is where you add the military industrial organization here, which will reduce the surface visibility for any of these ship types. So we do want to add that. That adds an additional 5 experience, which is where I got the 16 from, because we're going to want to add the torpedo tubes here. And so yeah, it's 16 total. And so we're going to just name this, I don't know, you guys got any names for submarines or any other ship type? Remember, we do not name the individual ships. We just let the game do that. We just name the classes. So what do you want the submarines to be named? Right now they'll be attack subs. And we can also name our units. So keep that in mind if you want to provide name suggestions. So we'll have, just take a look here. We have this infantry unit here. The tank unit obviously is going to need a lot of adjustments there. Got the cab, and then you have like a garrison reserve type of unit here. That's what we currently have. We will not be building medium or heavy tanks in this playthrough. We're just not going to have the production, guys. Doesn't make any sense. Instead, we'll have marines, and the infantry and the light tanks will be our main units that we make use of. You know, we got to keep in mind that we are a minor power. We have severe shortages of manpower and factories, and so just got to keep that in mind. And we can build some pretty decent light tanks, guys. So yeah, let's go back to here and get these submarines constructing. And so we're going to use that raiding fleet one. And go ahead and take these dockyards from them and put them into the attack subs. I think we're using them for repairs currently. And then we need to go ahead and use our new plane model here. Decommission these. And get the basic small airframe. Right now, I'm just going to name these Falcons. We can change that if you have any better name suggestions. So we've already got the MIO assigned, but we do need to upgrade it so we get that max speed and agility on there. You'll see that get applied immediately. Let's go ahead and make them into a fighter. They're going to be having the 4X, 4 times light machine guns here. And we're going to put 2 of those on there, really get that air attack up. And then over here, we got those drop tanks for a reason. We want that increased range. I find range to be incredibly important for your planes. Really increases their efficiency overall. It's more than just reaching different areas. It increases their entire efficiency for those larger air regions. Nothing else that we need here. I don't think it's worth getting the defense turrets. Just too heavy. And also has other penalties here with the max speed. For a little bit of air attack and air defense, I don't think it's worth it. And you only get that agility bonus if you're doing other missions. So yeah, I don't think it's worth getting. So we're going to leave this as is. We're also trying to keep the production a little bit lower as well. Always something we got to keep in mind as a smaller country. So I think we just need to change the engine now. And we don't want the 2 engines if we can avoid it. Looks like this should be enough here. Now if we did ramp up with the 2 engines, then obviously we're going to have significantly higher agility and max speed here. But look at that cost. Ugh, 39 production. Not worth it, guys. Not when we can do it for 25. So yeah, let's keep it as is. We can go ahead and take a look and see if there's anything better than this here. It says this is the best match, but honestly, the one that's selected seems like the best match. Yeah, they're saying that one looks more like it. I don't agree. I think the one they had selected. This one's solid too. For it. But yeah, I almost feel like that one there. I mean, it looks almost exactly like it, doesn't it? Yeah, let's go for that one. And then we also can select something here, because clearly that's not the best one, right? Let's just go through I think this one's probably better. Yeah, we'll go for that one. Alright, looks good. Alright, so let's go and save that. That was 13 of our experience, so we had plenty. But remember, we can't get anything else. First of all, we don't have the factories to really support that. And also, we don't have all the tech that we need for them either. So let's go ahead and just put one factory into them for now. I am tempted to put another one. Where are we at? We still have a shortage of infantry equipment, so we'll just do the one for now. Now, one issue we're going to continue to have issues with is aluminum and rubber. I think the shortage of one does not warrant trading for that. But yeah, that's going to be a consistent problem for us, guys. Something we got to keep in mind here. So we're still working on getting this built up, but we've done it up to level 4 here. And so we've gotten some of those resources. And so that might be getting us more trade. I don't think we were trading everything that we had to trade just yet, though. We are exporting quite a bit, though. Look at all that steel that we're currently exporting. Yeah, a lot to Denmark right now. And so that's getting us quite a few civilian factories, 12 civilian factories. Let us work on the second line here. We don't have the intelligence agency yet. I don't think it's worth working on just yet. It's just not going to give us bonuses worth spending our civilian factories on that. Not when we have all this other stuff we need to work on. Specifically getting those civilian factories up. Look at where we're at right now, guys. We're at 30. And I want to say it includes the ones for trade as far as getting to 40. And so we only need 10 more civilian factories, either from trade or from constructing them or from the focuses. We also almost have our 4th research slot. In fact, let's just let it go. I said it was going to be the end of the episode, but we're going to get this focus first. Which means we also have to select the next tech, but that's okay. So again, I'm really tempted to get that, and it looks like we can't get this one yet. Yeah, nothing happened to increase the world tension, so that's not even an option. So yeah, it makes sense to go ahead and get that. Now, if we get this one, again, there's a lot of good options here, getting us some military factories and stuff. But this one's nice to have. It does cost political power to do these, though. So something to consider. Well, basically, you can trade to get either manpower and stability. That's where you're trading for food. You can trade for tech bonuses. It's 25% research bonuses. And then there's one more option, the Army, Air, and Navy experience, plus 20 for all those. So that's one way to easily get experience here early in the game. So pretty useful to have. But again, something to consider is the fact that it costs political power. We have all this other stuff we need to spend political power on. So maybe it'd be better to get this one. Or to get the radio and start getting that research bonus. But again, I'm not entirely sure I want to do that. Could do this one, but yeah, I don't think that's worth it. Yeah, this is going to be a huge problem. You don't want to get that right now. That'll cause massive problems because it completely removes that one national spirit, granting us the 20% stability. And then also it hits you with a negative 10% stability, so it would tank it. We'd be in big trouble. So yeah, don't want to get that one right now. That'd be a problem. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get this one, I think. I don't see anything else here to get just yet. Yeah, I think that's the one for us. So more funds for all of our companies, 300 funds, and research bonuses for the infantry weapons, and it's only a 35-day focus too, so that's nice. So we opened up the 4th research slot. It's going to take us a little while to get the next research slot. Let's keep that in mind. And I think we should probably work on the production and industrial tax here. So 164 days to get construction too. So we'll go ahead and work on that. We could go ahead and get the next military staff here. That would be an option. Or we could save up to get that research speed. And that might be what we want to do. Just try and research a little bit faster. Yeah, it'd be really helpful to have that 6%, guys. And so I think that's what we're going to do. And then we can work on the Chief of Navy and Chief of Army after that, since those are cheap, only requiring 100. And we might have the 10% war support by that point as well to change over to the limited conscription, so we can actually get a little bit of manpower here. But yeah, the big problem is Army experience. I can't really change up the division designs at the moment. So I hope you guys did enjoy this first episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you're looking for anything to watch while you wait for the next episode, which will come out tomorrow, then check out the front page of our channel. We got a ton of videos all sorted by genre. I do play a lot of strategy games, particularly from Paradox Interactive. So we've got a Solaris series that we played this year. We've played a lot of CK3 over the last year or so. Victoria, that's kind of what I took a break from HOI4 to do. We covered Victoria 3 when that came out last year, and we've done I think 3 campaigns with Victoria 3. And then we also did a short EU4 playthrough. And then the last HOI4 campaign we did was with Greece, where we formed the Byzantine Empire. And so that was a fun campaign. Really enjoyed doing that one. I think a lot of people liked that series. I've also played several other strategy games that weren't from Paradox, came from other developers this year. Kind of been trying a few different things out over the course of the year. And if you like genres outside of strategy, we do play a lot of that as well. My wife and co-host here on the channel, HiJynx, will play stuff on the PlayStation 5 generally. And so if you like console gameplay, then maybe go check some of those series out. If you're looking for any links, then check out the description of any of our videos. You'll find links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. You'll also find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you'll find links to all of our social media, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff, if you'd like to follow us on those. So I do hope to see you guys on episode 2, and thanks for watching.